everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another Q&A, just a part 2 really, because after I filmed my last one I had loads of questions left. So I actually asked for these questions. I asked for these questions about a week ago, and I filmed the whole video. My memory card ran out on my camera, so I'm filming it all again. But to be fair, I was happy because I filmed it when I hadn't got as many questions, so now I've got all the questions that got asked after that. Wow, that was on later, so I'm just going to get straight into it. Right, so the first one is, do you still do face makeup or not? Because where you're too big, lots of love. I haven't worn makeup since my cousin got married in November 2019. And obviously I get my eyebrows tinted and everything, but I definitely don't wear face makeup because, look, that's a burn from where my plaster is. I had to move the plaster down, but like it's burnt on my skin. So yeah, no, I don't really wear makeup. I'll fill my eyebrows in to stop me picking them. Other than that, not really. That was like a good light start to the video. Next one is, I have trichotillomania too. I was wondering if you had any tips leading on from me filling my eyebrows in. I fill my eyebrows in as much as I can. Like, I find not using, if I use a brow gel, then because they're all stuck together, I find I have more of an urge to pick because they're all clumped together. I feel like I can get them all out at once. But yeah, fill them in. I don't know, because I've had so many people be like, if you feel like you need to pick, get like a fidget toy, but that don't work for me because I don't realise I'm doing it until I've done it and look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I have no eyebrow light, look. The day that beauty can open, I am desperate to have my eyebrows done, not because I'm like, oh, I need a pamper. I just want to stop making them bleed. And when they are, because they're growing back good, but it's just that because there's no rhythm, like they're not filled in, they're not waxed, and because I've got all the hairs at the bottom too, that's what starts me picking. So yeah, I just try and fill them in. Just try and stay calm because it is an anxiety thing. If you find that you're doing it without realising, then get therapy. Like, I personally, Jenna, she does my nails, my eyebrows, yeah. But yeah, she's really good with helping me with it. But yeah, just talk to someone, I guess. Because trichotillomania comes in all different forms. It can be your eyebrows, it can be your hair, it can be your eyelashes, anything. I got another one about trichotillomania, I think, as well. That was someone that actually messaged my mum, and she says, I have a question for Ruby's channel. And then she asked me the question, but then she put, I also suffered with trichotillomania most of my life and pretty much had a bald scalp after the last year. Yeah, hypnotherapy is a good idea to try. So if you, the person that, I'm not going to say the person that said they had trichotillomania for the last question, but look into that to see if that works for you, because I find that I'm not struggling as much anymore. But saying that, if I am anxious or if I'm having a bad day and feeling ill, like I've been having a really bad few days, and that's where that's come from, because I just don't realise I'm doing it. Next one is, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years' time? What goals would you like to achieve in terms of health? So, health-wise, I have no idea. I'd like a quality of life, but you never know. I could, like next year, have an amazing year, and the year after have an amazing year, and then the year after that have a flare-up, so I don't really know. In 5 years I'll be 21, nearly 21. That's crazy. Yeah, so I just want to have a quality of life. Next one is, will you return back to school or college? Well, I won't be going back to school because, one, I'm clinically vulnerable. Two, I'll be sick 20 times a day. You know, when I actually say that, I'm not just being like, oh, I'm sick 20 times a day. Like, you know how people be like, I'm sick 100 times a day. Like, they exaggerate genuinely it can be 20 times a day, if not more, but sometimes it can be like 5. But still, I just not comfortable to be sat in a room being sick. Also the tube, my mum is my carer and mum can't come into school with me, and it's like a lot of people have said to me, why don't the school train to use your tube? I don't let anyone touch this tube. I know that sounds so stupid, but even if I go in hospital, my mum looks after the tube because I've had so many people do it wrong in the past. I'm very protective over my own care. Next one is, how are you still able to eat when you have a tube? So anyone that has a tube can eat. Like, the tube doesn't stop you eating, it's just what your body does when you eat. And when I eat, I'm sick, but because I'm not relying on the tube to provide me nutrition anymore because I can't keep it down, I eat because I want to try and get something in my body, even if it's not staying down. So it's not that I can't eat because I've got a tube, because I can eat. Anyone that has a tube can eat. It's just their body that can't tolerate the feed, not the tube. Does that make sense? Like, it's a bit of plastic, it's not affecting anything, it's just an alternative way of nutrition. How did you mentally cope with finding out you was ill as a teenage girl? So, mentally, I don't know. So I had my operation, and for a while I don't really know, I took it really hard, and I still do. You know, if someone comes up to me and go, you look so well, you look so much better, or if they go, how are you? I don't know how to answer it. And people sometimes get offended with that, and I found that a lot at the start, that people would get offended if I said I weren't feeling better. But you know when you don't, and then if someone asks me how I am now, I go, yeah, I'm fine, thank you, how are you? Because if I say I'm not, they want to know why, and then I have to go through the whole story. And I know that they're just trying to be nice, but you know, when you asked it 20 times a day, like, especially when I was in hospital, a lot of people got annoyed at me that I shut everyone out, like my friends at school. It was because they'd be asking me how it was, but I'd have 5 nurses that day, 3 consultants and a dietitian asking how it was that day. But mentally, it did take a toll on me. I get major anxiety around healthcare professionals, whether that's a doctor, a consultant, a nurse. It's because I've been so badly treated within the NHS and out of the NHS. Privately, I've been mistreated. So I struggle with anxiety around healthcare professionals, but also I struggled mentally because my body was starved, like to nearly the point of dying. So that obviously really affected me mentally, because I didn't speak a lot, like I said in the last video. I just wasn't myself at all. But yeah, mentally it did affect me, but now mentally I'm doing great. I went for a CAMHS appointment, because this is one thing that is quite, I don't know how. Basically, if a doctor or consultant or a specialist doesn't know what's wrong with you, they will try to put as much as that down to you. So your mental health, you're doing this to yourself, which is impossible. Like, you can't stop yourself going to the toilet. But for so long that was drilled into me, that this was all my fault, that they were like, it's you that's doing this, she needs a psychiatric evaluation. So I went for a psychiatric evaluation at CAMHS, which is Children's Adolescents Mental Health Services. And I went for one appointment, and she was like, there's nothing wrong with your mental health, this is not you, you've just, her words were, for what I've been through, it's a normal reaction. Of course I'm going to have some anxiety after it, and of course I'm going to be scared of healthcare professionals because I've been mistreated. It's a normal human reaction, it's not me. Does that make sense? But yeah, I've got a lot of questions to go through, so some of them are really like deep, some of them are less deep and like more chatty. Favourite thing to bake? I don't know. I made a banana bread yesterday, that was really nice. Yeah, banana bread or cupcakes. Is your tube long term? Question mark, for life? Question mark. So, my tube is long term in the sense of I've had it over a year now. So it was a long term treatment. Like a year ago they were like, this will be, a year ago they said 6 months, 3 months. And then now I've still got it in. It's a bit up in the air whether we will take it out, not because I don't need it anymore. If I could keep feeds down, I would. But it's just, I can't keep feeds down, and it's just sat there and it's not benefiting me in any way other than my medicines, which are my like bowel prep, which go down it, but we could change my meds, do you know what I mean? So it's not that I don't, like if I could have the feeds, I'd still be having the feeds. But my body can't take that anymore, so we need to look into something else, so the tube might be coming out. However, say in 6 months, or a year, or even 10 years, 30 years from now, I lost weight or I started being sick, the first thing they do is they put a tube down. Because I've got the history of SMA. So it is long term, in the sense it's been in a long time and I will need it longer. And for example, throughout my life I will need tubes. Because there's like a fat pad around your superior mesenteric artery, and if that fat goes, then your body kicks in starvation mode and then it just gets bad. So if I lose weight, then I will need one in the future, even if that's like when I'm 80. Like, what inspired you to start YouTube? Wow. I wanted to start YouTube June last year. I was too scared to do it. But what inspired me was seeing people on TikTok, and I remember one night, I think it's Imogen, I don't know her last name, she's pregnant, just announced she's pregnant. One night in lockdown, I just searched a day in the life, chronic illness, like just to see what came up, and hers was the first video to come up. I think, I don't know, it's gastro something, basically her stomach and bowel's paralysed, which is quite similar to me. So I was related to her, and then I went down the rabbit hole, like, day in the life of SMA syndrome. I didn't find one English person, but a lot of Americans, and just watched them, and I was like, oh, I could do this, like, because they were all a lot older than I was. So her, and I just wanted to educate people and share my story, because I feel like in the media being ill isn't talked about enough. I know people might find that weird, but like, people just don't know enough about it. Like chronic illnesses, people have them for life and they have to cope with it on a daily basis, and no one ever like knows about that. So yeah, I just wanted to get the word out there that even at my age, like, I just wanted to share my story. How do Bobby and Katie cope with your illness? Bobby and Katie, my brother and sister, they're twins. They struggle a lot. Not as much now, but back when I was really ill, they struggled a lot. I think now they've just kind of got used to it, which is really sad, but as a family we've all adapted. Like, and we always say, you know, the tube, we don't see it. Like, I'm looking in the viewfinder now and I cannot see the tube unless I look for it. It's like my little brother used to have a birthmark on his face and none of us could see it. So it's like, they just look past it. I am their sister, or my mum and dad, I'm their daughter. Nothing's changed that way. They get to see me for me, and because they're the people I'm the most comfortable around, yeah, when I'm having a bad day, they're a bit like fragile around me, and they used to be really fragile around me and didn't want to like come near me, didn't want to touch me in case they hurt me. But yeah, I think we're all coping better with it now, until like I'm about to have an appointment and like it's all kicking off, because the hospitals, there's a lot of people I know that work for the NHS that are amazing. And you know, when I had COVID, every paramedic I met, every like doctor, GPs, all my GPs, like as a whole, there's a lot of people I know in the NHS that are amazing. However, hospital, I've had to deal with a lot of rude people, just not nice. Which I will go into detail if people want me to, but I just don't want to sound like I'm always slagging them off when I'm not, because they have done a lot for me. Well, I'll use the term lightly. But was you worried when you're in hospital? I don't know, because I've had about 30, if not more, admissions, so you can just get used to it. But now, yeah, I get scared, like I said, around doctors. Like, it's not a nice environment to be in. When I was in the hospital and I was critical, it's all just a bit of a blur. But I lived there for a while, so when I was first there, I didn't have the brain. I just slept all day, so I didn't really know what was happening. But yeah, you worry. But it's more frustrating, because it's not like you're just in hospital worrying, it's more like a constant battle. Like, it is like you're just constantly fighting for something, and not like that's what we want to be doing, but because that is what I found being older, and because I'm still in paediatrics, I'm still on a kids ward, I find because I'm the oldest, I'm the one that gets like, oh, she can look after herself. Like, if I'm crying in pain, I can look after myself, but if a baby's crying with pain, they need to be seen. Like, you get treated a lot differently when you're older. And my answers to these questions aren't very good at all. As you get older, will your illness start to go away or get worse? It's always just going to be the same, really. It's not as I get older, it can be really good one year, really good bad the next, really good one month, really bad the next, really good one day, and really bad the next. It just varies on how my body wakes up feeling. Yeah, that's the thing with a chronic illness. I've got a syndrome as well. Syndrome normally means forever. It's just something that don't go away and stays a long time. These, by the way, new obsession Diet Coke in a glass bottle. So much nicer than in a can. Literally going for about 4 a day. How old are you? 15? When's my birthday? 25th of August. I'll be 16 in August, which is weird. So I was saying this to someone the other day. So I know I've been ill like 18 months. I know I've been ill 18 months. But in my head, you know, when I turned 15, because I was 14 when it started, but I'd still had that 2019, the rest of the year, I was alright. So then, like, when it was my 14th birthday, and then the end of the year, it was like, I know I've been ill a year, but now it feels like I've been ill a year, because I know it's that whole year that I've been ill. Does that make sense? Like, I got ill at the end of 2019, but at least the rest of 2019 I was fine. But like 2020, from start to finish, I was ill. Yeah, weird. What do you want to do when you're older? Well, I want to be in the police, but I don't want to be in the police, I want to be a detective. So to do that, I have to be in the police. So I'm going to do my A-levels end of this year for 2 years, because I can't actually join the police apprenticeship until I'm 18. So I'm filling that 2-year gap with A-levels, and then I'm going to do my going to police and apprenticeship. That's 3 years. got to be in the police for 3 years before I can like do the courses to become a detective. But yeah, that's what I want to do. I've always had an interest in it. It used to be probation officer, then it was police officer. Like, it's always been around crime. So what are the next steps with the hospital? Well, good question. I'd love to know myself. I've got an appointment in April with my surgeon that I've seen a couple of times, and he's like on my team, but I don't see him very often. See what he has to say. I've got no dietitian anymore. That's a whole other story. I've got no dietitian anymore, so need to find one of them. Because that's the first thing they said, you know, when they said I had SMA, they was like, you're going to need a dietitian in your life for the rest of your life. And I'm like, well, that lasted long. So I need to find a dietitian. My consultant was happy last time he saw me, even though I told him I was being sick. And I find this with a lot of people in general. If I am walking well, I'm better. Or if I look better, I'm better. No, don't matter that I go to him and sit down and say I'm being sick all the time. Well, you look really healthy. Well, thanks, but don't make it not valid that I'm being sick all the time. Like, so I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not seeing him till July, that's my next appointment. Because they've got a massive backlog from the pandemic. My consultant at my local hospital, I've got a telephone appointment with her start of April. So I really don't know. I was supposed to have this testing done, but they can't do that while I'm being sick, so I really don't know where they're going to take it next. I don't know. I've started trying, what's it called, alternative medicine, just because, and I was so against alternative medicine, and I was like, no, the hospital needs to do this, but they aren't helping me, so I'm trying to take matters in my own hands a bit, and like, if it don't work, no harm done. It's vitamins and it's herbal, it can't hurt me, so I'll see where that goes, but I have no clue. The consultant literally just said, well, you can experience being sick your whole life, you've just got to get used to it. I don't make it any better. Like, so yeah, because I'm on not every anti-sickness you can be on, so it can't actually stop me being sick. So I don't know. What are you most looking forward to in the future? I'm looking forward to travelling abroad. I just thrive in Portugal. And last year I loved it so much because no one knew me. So like, no one was asking how I was or saying I look better. And if they did want to know, like, because we know quite a few people out there, like, as in restaurant owners, they wouldn't come to me and be like, what's wrong? They'd go to my mum, like, and just ask my mum. So I just love that out there I could just be me. And no one was not judging, but like reading into everything I do, because that's how it feels sometimes. Hopefully I'm looking forward to going abroad, seeing family, being able to see family and like hug them, and just seeing people. Stanley, can't wait to see Stanley. In fact, that leads me on to my next question quite well. Who's helped you through your journey so far? The answer to that question is obviously my parents, my family. My mum has been amazing. She has fought for me and done things no mum should ever have to do. Like, she has watched me go through some horrible things, and I mean horrible. And like, no one will ever understand that she has just been incredible. Also, there's one little man that has really got me through since even my appendix. Like, so my godparents' baby. So Stanley is 2. Yeah, he's 2. I'm gonna say 2.5, but I don't think he's quite 2.5 yet. He is my best friend. You know what, and I said this to the people at camps, and when I say it to people, they don't really think of it like this, but anyone I go to looks at me different now, and I can just tell they're staring at the tube, or they just want to talk about me being ill. But Stanley don't know any different. He just looks at me, and I am Auntie Ruby, and he just wants to play. Like, he don't care that I've got a tube in my nose, that he don't see it, he's used to it, because since him being 1, like, he was 1 when he, like, only just turned 1 when I first got the tube, so he's just used to me being like that. And even when I was in hospital and I was critical, he'd draw me little pictures and I'd hang them up on my wall, and it just gave me that, I don't know, like, I look at him and it just made me happy. And I'll be sat, like, some days I'll be laid there, like, pre-pandemic, also mid-pandemic, where we could actually see people. And he'd come up, and my feed stand, he was obsessed with my feed stand. I'll insert a video now. He literally, like, grabs onto it and goes, and because when you press the buttons on it, it makes noises and, like, beeps, so he loves that. He presses all the buttons, or he'll, like, turn it off, or this is the best one, when he picks it up and walks away and I don't realise, and then I'm, like, dragged along. But yeah, I love that kid so much. He's helped me so much. I miss him. But yeah, he's just the cutest. How did you feel when you were extremely ill in hospital compared to how you feel now? So I'm going to do this on 2 sides, physically, mentally. Physically, I don't feel any better, like, if anything worse, because I'm being sick more now. But I've just learned, that is the biggest thing. I've learned to cope with it, I've learned to get on with it, I've stopped feeling sorry for myself. And then, mentally, I'm feeling a lot better mentally. But when I was extremely ill, I was a lot more underweight. So now I've put a bit of weight on. Obviously that benefits how I feel, but in terms of being sick and my bowel, no change. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like I said, stick around. But yeah, if you do want me to do more Q&As, I will. And if you don't follow me on my Instagram to ask me the questions, comment them down below. Like, 'cause I feel like now I have a lot of messages, a lot of comments on my videos that are like, I found this, and I'm like, oh, you don't actually know me. So if you don't follow me on other social media, comment them down below. So I do want to answer everyone's questions I can. Let me know what other videos you'd like me to film, because I feel like now I've done the basic, like, day in the life, Q&A. I'd like to do some other things, but I want my content to be what you want too. This is me that's trying to educate you, so if I'm just doing it in my way, then that wouldn't help you. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.